like to do is introduce our master ceremonies. And, Tom McLaughlin, he apprenticed in the early 90s with master craftsman Pug Moore of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And if you've ever watched him, you've become familiar with Pug because he references him all the time. And over his 30-plus year career, he's designed and built a myriad of custom pieces for clients seeking to own pieces that are as much work of art as they are functional. As a 25-year member of the New Hampshire Furniture Masters and former chairman, his work has been recognizable for its dramatic use of figured wood, creating a sense of movement in each piece. Tom can be seen on repeat episodes hosting classic woodworking and fine woodworking on PBS TV, and he's a frequent contributor to Fine Woodworking magazine. In 2016, Tom shifted his focus from commission work to teaching on his Epic Woodworking platform. He and his wife, Chris, the camera lady, created Epic Woodworking to help further the craft by providing instruction for all levels through a free weekly live stream, Shop Night Live. And maybe if you're kind to him, he'll actually give that shout out, Shop Night Live. Online courses and in-shop courses at his shop in Canterbury, New Hampshire. They also offer a community membership experience called The Neighborwood, which brings together woodworkers from all over the world with the goal of expanding skills and inspiring creativity. And one of the things I have to shout out to Tom was that we can all remember back a year or two ago when we were all cloistered in our homes and couldn't go outside because of the pandemic. This guy provided free online classes, live streaming them, and it's something you look forward to seeing. And the kindness of his heart, all his time and energy, provided those free of charge to people who had nothing else to do, no place else to go. And I was really very thankful for that. Now I'd like to bring Tom up here, and I just want to remind you of one thing. Tom is almost as good at building a jig as he is doing a jig. So welcome Tom McLaughlin.
That's all I got. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to be in this position. I've been a furniture master, but never a master of ceremonies. So I had to look that up and see what it is you have to do. And I think I got it covered, but we'll see. Well, it's really a remarkable turnout and an overwhelming response. I was really stunned to hear that she expected only, 100, maybe 150 people, 50 pieces, and now there's 136. Unbelievable. Well, that's incredible. Well, that's kind of good news, bad news. The bad news is that you have less of a chance of winning a prize if you're one of the 136. The good news is you can bring the same piece next year and no one will notice. But as a maker and now an instructor primarily, well, I'm still making, obviously, but not selling on commission as much, I think a lot about what draws us to this craft. What is it, when I put out word that we're going to have a course and you get all these people sign up, it still surprises me. And at the core, it's creativity. It's better than breaking stuff, right? Breaking things or destruction, at their core, it's easy. It's easy to break things, and sometimes we do so when we're trying to make things, but at their core, destructive breaking of things is usually rooted, philosophically speaking, in some sort of malice or hatred or something like that. In contrast, when we create something, it's difficult. It's way more difficult to assemble, to think, to dream, to manifest something slowly through your own hands and take a risk. And really at the core of creativity is love. It really is. We share the love when we go to those depths of making something. But like every love relationship, our engagement with woodworking like this begins with a kind of romance. We're romanced by the woodworking shop, by the smells. People always say that. They walk in, oh, it smells so good in here. And they see the wood around, and they think, you know, they have the feeling of the wood. We have the smoothness of it, the beauty of it. We never get tired of the incredible variety and beauty of wood. Every piece is unique in its own way, just because of the incredible material that we have to work with. And that's what grabs us. So many of us start on the path. We begin to try it out and to set up a little shop, take a few classes, and we move on this path, hopefully to proficiency and maybe to mastery. But like all crafts and arts, that romance phase fades. And then you're confronted with a kind of challenge. The pathway is not easy, especially to progress in any art, any craft, any form of discipline that requires creativity does not come easy. There's a book written about 10 years ago called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And in that book, he talks about if you are setting out to do something creative, anything, writing, music, for us it's woodworking, you're going to face resistance. It's guaranteed. Resistance of all kinds. We have a kind of discouragement of resistance where you can make mistakes or doubt yourself or start to get discouraged because it's a slow growth. Or you're comparing yourself to others and don't feel like you measure up. I really don't have what it takes. Or you fear to risk to show your work like this. So I know for a lot of people who entered the show, it might be their first time. And it's quite a risk to put yourself out there, especially when you're designing something new. It's really kind of an odd fit to have a competition like this because we're not really in competition with each other. We're in competition with ourselves to overcome that resistance of pushing forward and gaining ground in the craft. And there's no shortcuts to this. But you don't have to go it alone. Before guilds were common, it was hard to find someone to learn with. There were certain classes here and there. I was fortunate, like some of my friends, to have an apprentice experience with an older craftsman. And I remember working with him back in the early 90s in the shop and hearing of another man, another older craftsman, who it was said when you visited his shop, he would put down his tools so you couldn't steal his secrets. So you wouldn't get it, because he was old enough to have still felt the repercussions of the Depression, and there was a real fear of many people at that time that if you learned what I'm doing, I could be out of a job. So he was afraid that he was going to lose something. But really, it's the opposite that's true. When we give, when we share, when we open the doors and share our skills, like so many in this generous community, you receive much more, exponentially more. And that's one of the great things about the Guild I've always appreciated. Everyone in this Guild shares that same spirit of generosity, of sharing skills, of encouragement, so we can all walk this path through the resistance, not alone. So thank you for letting me represent the Guild in this way as Master of Ceremonies. Thank you. Now I want to introduce to you some very hard workers. I am so glad I have this job and not theirs, the judges. the judges, they had to go through and make decisions on 136 pieces, all these different categories, who was worthy of winning the first, second, and third prizes. Well, our first judge is internationally known. He's been at, I'm not going to read your bios, I'm going to just hit the bullet points, okay? Is that all right? He's internationally known, and for 5 decades, he's been a maker, an educator, a writer, and a farmer. Who can say that? His furniture is marked with exquisitely detailed design and design elements. He's written 2 books. I don't know if I have these right. The hand plane book and the hand tool book. Close enough, I think. Countless articles, and he's been a fine woodworking contributor editor for he's in his 30th year as a contributing editor. And he's a New Hampshire Furniture Master, former chairman, and I consider him a good friend. Garrett Hack. Thank you. We'll just stand for a second. And the second of the judges I want to introduce you, he's been at the craft for 5 decades. I think I got that right, or pretty darn close. He has traditional roots with an apprenticeship training early on, but he's really an incredible designer. He has a signature style, a recognizable style. He's a master carver. He's a founding member of the Furniture Masters. He's got several pieces in the Courier Museum of Art. He's 2-term Artist Laureate of New Hampshire, and he's a recent Cartouche Award winner. You probably already guessed, this is David Lamb. Stand up, David. Thank you. And the third of these distinguished judges is the current chairman of the New Hampshire Furniture Masters. He, too, is a gifted designer and maker, and I've always admired his work as pushing the boundaries of design and technique. And I've gone up to him and asked him, how'd you do that one over there? So we could share skills. But he has numerous design awards. He's been featured in Fine Woodworking Magazine, New Hampshire Home, and he teaches at the Center for Furniture Craftsmanship, UNH, and others. I'm talking about Owain Harris. Thank you, Owain. And I'm going to invite you up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's a huge honor to be asked to judge. And Elliot said he was thinking there might be 50 pieces or so. So it was a little bit of a shock when I walked into the room this morning, and there was almost triple that amount. But so that was a nice move there to keep the expectation on the number low, so that we weren't too freaked out. And I think I speak on behalf of all the judges when I say that you guys, everybody that entered, really, I think, made our job difficult because the work was just across the board, just so excellent. So, we really had to put a lot of work into it, and thank you to everybody that entered. And it was a really remarkable feature of what the region can produce for fine woodworking. And Elliot actually invited me to come up to the stage and speak today to talk a little bit about the New Hampshire Furniture Masters and some of our programming. So I'll keep it fairly brief, but I imagine most of you are familiar with the New Hampshire Furniture Masters. But for those of you who aren't, we're a group of professional furniture makers that are dedicated to preserving and advancing the art of fine furniture making. And we do that through hosting exhibitions and collaborations with other groups of artists and mentorship programs. And our flagship outreach program is our prison outreach program that originally started in the New Hampshire men's prison And Tom McLaughlin and Terry Moore, who's also here tonight, were very instrumental in both setting that program up and keeping it going for many years now. And then it has moved into both the main men's prison, and recently, in the last couple of years, we've started a program at the New Hampshire women's prison that we're really proud of. So, yeah, that's one it's been a real, it's been a fight to get that going, and it's finally moving forward, and we have instructors in place, and it's actually incredibly heartwarming to see the stories of the people in that program in particular who are coming through that program. So. So our, we're a nonprofit organization, and we fund all of our programming through various fundraising efforts. And we have an exhibit that is opening next Tuesday. It's a collaboration with the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen. That the exhibit is opening next Tuesday, and our main sort of marquee event, the main event, is next Saturday, the 28th. And tickets are available for sale now, and all the proceeds for that go into supporting our mentorship programs and our prison outreach programs. And so that'll be a great event where you can see some really, really great work. I helped set up the exhibit last week, and it's a really, really cool collaboration between members of the League and members of the New Hampshire Furniture Masters. And so you can see that, and I encourage you to purchase tickets. If you go back into the back room here, there's actually a little mini exhibit of some of the work of our current members, and there's a tiny little QR code on a stand there that you can click on and you can buy tickets. Or you can go to our website, FurnitureMasters.org, or to the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen, and you can buy tickets for that event. And like I said, that all goes to support our programming. So I want to thank Elliot for inviting me up here to talk about our organization. And yes.
Will any of the winners be at our show?
That is a great question, David Lamb, and I can say that the answer is absolutely yes. So we also have our own New Hampshire Furniture Masters Gallery, which is right across the hall from the League in the same building, and selected winners from this event are going to be featured alongside our main exhibition through till the middle of December. So you can look for that too, and when you come to see that exhibit, you'll be able to see both exhibits. So we're really, we've partnered with the guilds a couple times now. We did a partnership with them for an event last year, and then doing this. And the guild is the best, right? I love the guild. Whenever somebody asks me like they want to get into woodworking, one of the first things I always tell them is join the guild, because it's an incredible resource, and we're super happy to partner with them, and we're really excited to show the winners of this exhibit in our gallery. So I think with that, I'm actually going to hand it back over to Tom, because I know you guys want to know who the winners are going to be. So thank you.
All right, I want to introduce our keynote speaker. He is a professional woodworker, a furniture maker, and a chair maker, and been doing that for 3 decades. He's also managed to fit in being on the faculty at North Bennett Street School for 17 years, 13 as department head of the cabinet and furniture making department. He's demonstrated and exhibited at numerous museums and historical sites. He's on the path, or if not already, a New Hampshire Furniture Master in the group. And he is the current Cartouche Award winner. I want to mention also, we have 3 Cartouche Award winners in the room. We have Al Breed back there, David Lamb, and Dan Faia. Come on up, Dan.
When I have an opportunity to get up in front of a crowd, I'm usually in front of a workbench with carving tools and demonstrating and whatnot. But I want to thank Tom for the introduction. I want to thank Elliot and the Guild for inviting me here tonight. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with y'all this evening. I also, first thing I want to do is I wanted to congratulate all of the competition participants for sharing your work. It is a big deal. Like Tom said, it takes a lot of courage to come and do this for the first time. But also, I wanted to congratulate all of the family, friends, and supporters for encouraging you to get here along the way, because their support helps us, get to the next level. So I think those folks deserve a round of applause too. So. As you're here, take a look around the room. You know, we're surrounded by folks who love working as much as we do, and I think that's the coolest thing about tonight. Like the Guild motto says, professionals and amateurs together. That's the motto, and it's been like that for a long time. I've been involved with the Guild for quite a long time. That's exactly what we are tonight with all of these folks. We're surrounded by folks that love woodworking. We have competition categories for all different levels of experiences. Like Tom had mentioned, our 3 judges and our MC are longtime Furniture Masters. They are all legendary professionals in the field of woodworking. They set the bar really high, and so we can all basically emulate their work and take note to be able to go to the next level for ourselves, for our own personal achievements. If you haven't already, take a look at the show exhibit that Owen had mentioned. It is truly inspiring to see their work, and I am very, very proud this year to be an invited artist with them. And I'm looking forward to kind of growing as a maker myself. Tonight, I wanted to share some thoughts with you about regarding craftsmanship. I've spent a lot of time over the years with both amateur and professional woodworkers, and they're very much alike in many ways, usually easygoing, kind, generous, and passionate about their work. Woodworking is the common thread that links us all. Whether we make for ourselves or for clients, we should always strive for excellence. Regardless of the level of our experience, we should always ask ourselves, is this my best work? The answer to that is different for everyone, but it will serve us well as we continue to grow as makers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, well, it's handmade, as a justification for dismissing a mistake or accepting a good enough result. I like to tell my workshop students that handmade is not an excuse. Handmade items should far exceed the quality necessary for an object. We work with our hands because we love it. And that's something that Tom had said, and that means a lot to us as makers. What we make is not just work. It is in many ways a reflection of who we are as makers. Whether someone is an amateur or professional, there is an internal desire to create. The professional woodworker needs to keep up with the business. They also have to make smart decisions for project's efficiency and also have to worry about the bottom line. The amateur may be faced with limited resources and even more with limited time to work. With that, they may rush a project for different reasons and let some details slide to get the project done quicker. In either instance, take a pause and please remember craftsmanship. What is it? What is craftsmanship? Craftsmanship is pride, integrity, and honest work. These are words that inspire me to do my best as a maker. Take some time to reflect on your own work. Look back at the other makers who have influenced you. What was it that drew you to their pieces? Was it their designs, their choice of use in materials, the practical use of the object? Yes, to all of it. And we also enjoy others' work because of how it makes us feel. It's not just the appearance of the piece, but the craftsmanship within it. The more the observer understands a handmade object, the easier it becomes to see and appreciate all the little things the maker puts into their work, the things that we choose to do that no one may ever see, or that has no effect on the aesthetic of the project. These things don't always affect the construction, make it better, or even add value. It's done because we care. That is pride in craftsmanship, our way to give a little more of ourselves to the work that we create. There's a good chance that others won't notice the extra efforts you put into a piece, but it will undoubtedly shine through in how you present your work. When a maker has the opportunity to share their work with others, it can be magical. Even the painfully shy, that's me, will light up when others take a real interest in their craft. So hopefully my message and words here tonight are clear. I want to take this moment to remind the woodworking community of a few things. Take pride in your work. Be sure to present your best efforts. Share your knowledge and experience with others. Take joy in the process and have fun doing it. You never know where your journey will take you. If we continue learning, building, teaching, and sharing our passion for woodworking, We will ensure organizations like G&HW will thrive in the future. If I can just hold your attention for a couple more minutes, I thought I would share a couple of interesting projects that I encountered along my path and just kind of talking about those things. So I got into woodworking when I was 18 years old. I just turned 50 in September. And I never thought I would be here actually giving a keynote speech at a woodworking competition. Didn't think that was going to happen. But I just want to kind of go through these quick and kind of show you some of the things that have come up. And it's interesting, the opportunities and the shift in the museum world had changed for more interactive exhibits for the reason to try to get more youth involved, to get more people interested in museum collections. And it's really nice to see a lot of different folks here today. But one of the kickoff projects that I had was for the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston when they redid their Art in the Americas wing. They actually had worked with various artists and craftspeople, were commissioned to create process samples and videos for the MFA collection pieces. And our work is accompanying the original pieces that are on display, and they're there for educational and presentations and tours. I got to measure and trace a Philadelphia dressing table, got to spend time in the museum with the curators, and it was kind of my first experience in the museum. The next one, we can go to the next slide here. I was asked to do the Colonial Williamsburg Working Wood in the 18th Century Conference in 2012. It was the furniture of George and Martha Washington. So I got to go to Mount Vernon, and I got to spend some time with the Pembroke table. That was the breakfast table of George and Martha Washington. So the history of being able to be around the pieces. It was interesting being at Mount Vernon, but I was more excited to be with the piece of furniture in a room. So that was really good. And actually this year I'm returning this January to Colonial Williamsburg for the next conference. It's called By the Book. My focus is neoclassical designs of George and Alice Hepplewhite. So if you're going to go down to that conference, I'll probably see you there. The next slide. Real quick, this is the old State House in Boston. If you've never been, it's probably one of the nicest stops along the Freedom Trail. They did a reinstallation of what the council chamber would have looked like in about 1765, so all the reproduction furnishings. Got to work with the historian there at the Bostonian Society. Gerald Ward from the MFA was the point person on trying to find the pieces, and this chair that I got to build was not one that was in the original council chamber, but it was a set of chairs they knew that was actually owned by the lieutenant governor at the time. So they actually wanted to have a chair that was different. And I did this completely by hand because I wanted to build it as if it was built in the time period. So that was the experience of that in 2014. So, and that exhibit, when you walk into the council chamber, it's welcoming. You're welcome to sit in all the furniture and experience. And the docents there are great to tell this story. So I would highly recommend that. So next slide. Again, this is kind of the history, the things I never thought would come about. So this is a copy of Ralph Waldo Emerson's writing armchair. I got to go to the Concord Museum in Concord, Mass., got to measure the original, so I got to sit in the chair that Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote in. It was pretty spectacular. Went to the Old Manse in Concord where he wrote a lot of his essays and was in the room that he did that. So not only did I get to experience the build, it's not the prettiest chair in the world. I don't even like a lot of this stuff, but it was just fun to be tied to it, and also know that actually got made to be put in the room where he wrote, so everybody who's interested in literary history can go and spend time and sit in that chair and kind of contemplate in writing and being Emerson. It's also the same room Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote in as well, in the same building, in the same room. So next slide. I got to make a copy of Henry David Thoreau's writing desk. It's what would have been at Walden, but it's owned by the Concrete Museum. So I got to go measure that, and at the same time, I got to build a second chair for the Emerson chair. The Concord Museum did a show. After we did the one for the Old Manse, they wanted to do a show, and their show, I gotta remember the name of this thing here, was The Anatomy of a Desk. It was the writings of Thoreau and Emerson. So it was an interactive exhibit. They'd have the original pieces there. You could sit in the reproductions and you could write and you could look at some of their writings and some of the original stuff that they had done. So it was fun. This exhibit was for an organization called the Trustees of the Reservations. They are the second largest landowner in Massachusetts other than the state of Massachusetts. So they own a lot of properties within the state. They have a vast collection. And they had asked some makers to actually do like a response show. And they had probably 20 pieces in the exhibit and 20 different makers, and you chose a piece from the collection. And everybody made furniture that was a reflection. I decided to go a different route. So the chest was a 17th century sunflower chest. And I knew a little bit about the maker. I got to see the piece. But my interpretation of that was that the carving is kind of a reflection of the frame and panel. So it's the frame and panel that goes around, the tools of the maker. So all of the tools are wood, they're carved, so they're butternut carving tools. The compass is walnut, or the dividers are walnut. The plane on the top was a nod to Peter Follansbee. If you know Peter Follansbee, the 17th century furniture maker, he uses Dutch hand planes, so it's a Dutch plane on top instead of an American plane, so I gave him kind of a tip of the cap for the 17th century work. And then my thought was the three flowers of the sunflowers that could have inspired the maker. So that was my kind of interpretation of that show and that exhibit. Next slide. So this is a workshop, a video workshop with Fine Woodworking. I just wrapped up. It's actually released this summer. It was my first shot at doing a video. It was really interesting, really nerve-wracking. And if you think it's easy, what Tom does is very, very difficult, and he does a very good job at it. So highly admire that, Tom. But the idea of the video, I wanted to basically show some chair making. I really am trying to work with Fine Woodworking to encourage the modern makers to think about traditional work and traditional techniques. The point of the workshop is not to build a Queen Anne chair, even though we go through it, is to learn about good building techniques and good furniture. And the concept came about a friend of mine, and a teacher and educator, a lot of you might know, Phil Lowe, when Phil passed. I received the chair on the left-hand side of that is a chair that Phil made in the early 1980s that I got from his family after he's passed as a gift to have. So I decided I wanted to make another one to have a pair in the home. So I called Fine Woodworking and said, you know what, Phil did a video for Fine Woodworking in 1996 called Measuring Furniture for Reproduction. And it was him going to the museum, measuring a chair. It's not this chair, but measuring a chair. And they go back to the shop, and he draws it, makes patterns, he does the build, he goes all the way through. And it's just, it's a tour through the process of making a build. So we did this as a kind of tip of the cap to Phil and everything he's done for the community and the writing for Fine Woodworking. So I do the same thing. We take his chair, we measure it, we trace it, we draw it, we build it all the way through, and the whole workshop is there. So that was my tip to Phil. So next slide. It got mentioned I had received the Cartouche Award this year. Again, it's very humbling, very honored to be able to be even in the same league as David and Al Breed and all of those folks who had won over the years. It means a lot, and I'm excited to be able to share and try to help that organization keep growing as well. So, next slide. Just real quick, this is a recent commission I had finished, but I'm showing this because the Society of American Period Furnitures, they do a journal every year. Well, I call it a journal, but it's a magazine they put out every year, a lot like the Guild Journal. Once a year, there's an article that'll be in there about me in my bio for the Cartouche Award that Roger Myers is writing for that. And I actually go through the whole build of this piece. So there's an 8-page article about the build of this piece and the carving of this piece. And that just went to a home in Virginia. Next. And I just want to say thank you for tonight. I didn't know what a keynote speech would be like at a woodworking competition, and I guess this is what it is, so thank you.
Thank you, Dan. One more before the prizes. This next guy I want to invite up became a new neighbor of mine, probably about, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember. But he was clearly not from around here. He was from New York, and I learned, and he struck me as we spent some time. He was visiting in my shop quite a bit, actually, for those first few years, and he was one of the most caring, self-effacing people who would always think of others' needs. So it was no surprise when I learned that he once worked as a night doorman at a very upscale hotel up in the Upper East Side of New York City, at night, while he was going to school and working another job or something like that. For like 12 years he did this. So that struck my curiosity, and I said, Mike, I was from Lowell, Mass., so I didn't have a lot of exposure to doormen and bellmen. I said, I've always wondered, what's the classy way that people would slip you a tip? What's the right way to do it? And he goes, well, Tom, you take the bill and you fold it up like this, and you want to squeeze it in your fingers so it's kind of like tucked inside your hand. Then when he reaches out to shake your hand, you feel that little special something, and you go, thank you very much. And you just sort of make the exchange, it's pretty slick. So I haven't had opportunity to do that yet, but I thought those of you who are thinking of entering next year, you see the judges here, you might want to shake their hand, and you'll get something going on. So I want to invite up the man, Mike DiMaggio.
Thank you, Tom, for that illustrious opening. And just for you, big mouth person in the back, I'll be talking for the next 2 hours. I have a very special award here, and it's really endemic to the whole concept of what woodworking is about. It's about wood. And being able to acquire wood, especially special types of wood, is a very costly and difficult endeavor for many of us. And in the Guild, we've been extremely fortunate to have a gentleman who unfortunately can't be here tonight because what is he doing? He's unloading millions of board feet of wood for his business. And this gentleman has donated an incredible amount of fine, upscale wood to our Guild for many, many, many years, so that the many of the projects that we produce have been through his beneficence. And so I wish to present this plaque to the Doubleday family in recognition of your ongoing generosity and support for the Guild of New Hampshire Woodworkers, October 2023. My beautiful wife will come up and accept the award on behalf of the Doubledays. Thank you, beautiful wife. Now, the next award, people thought I was only going to do one, haha. The next award is a surprise award, and it's going to get me in trouble, but I don't really care, because it's very well deserved. When you take on a situation of this magnitude, it takes an enormous amount of planning, preparation, organizational skills, ingenuity, drive. And the person that's really responsible for that is sitting just to my right. And he had the idea originally of, gee, wouldn't it be nice to put on some kind of a woodworking competition? To which we were all like, oh, maybe. And as the idea grew and grew, I saw this man spend countless hours every single day planning, organizing, reaching out, using his political moxie, his business acumen to be able to present what I think is an incredible first-time experience. I am really honored to be working with him, to be able to share his goals, and I just wanted to give him, on behalf of our guild, to President Elliot Savitsky, in recognition of your tireless efforts and dedication as the chairman of the first annual woodworking competition.
I just want to say thank you, Mike, but this couldn't have been done without Mike's help and his fortitude. And you call this guy, I get calls from like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's still working on his piece. Or, you know, can I bring that platform in Saturday morning because it's still drying and whatever. But we had a really great group of people who pitched in and helped out. So thank you very much.
All right, let's get to the prizes, shall we? I looked through this list of awards and I was blown away. I mean, it's very generous, as I shouldn't be surprised by the Guild, but all the sponsors really outdid themselves. Not only do most of the winners get some kind of tool, but there are cash prizes. And I'm not going to read the cash prizes, only in certain cases, but trust me, they're nice. I mean, it's very nice. So, all right, here we go. So for Best Original Design, so the 3 winners, the 3rd place winner is John Siegel. Stand, John. The 2nd place winner is Dale Edwards. And the 1st place winner for original design, best original design, is Joshua LaRose. All right, here we go. For best traditional piece. So those 3 winners for the best traditional piece are, the 3rd place winner is Jerry Olson. See here? And in 2nd place for best traditional piece is Gary Canning. Woohoo! And the 1st place winner of best traditional is Matt Blackburn. All right, way to go. All right, so now we're moving on to the Best Contemporary Piece. The winners for Best Contemporary Piece are in 3rd place, Joseph Sarna. Awesome. 2nd place is M.A. Wong. And 1st place for Best Contemporary Piece is Paul DiCarlo. All right, next category is Best Amateur Piece. Here we go, the 3rd place winner in the Best Amateur Piece is Elijah Sprules. The 2nd place winner is Edward Marks. He's right there. Nice. And the 1st place winner of Best Amateur Piece is Ronald Bart. And now we move to the Best Professional Piece. We have 2 winners in this category. So the second place for Best Professional Piece is William Taylor. And first place for Best Professional Piece is Wesley Sunderland. Wesley Sunderland. All right, now we move on to the Best Bowl Turning. This Best Bowl Turning is in third place for the Ridge Carbide Table Saw Blade Plus Cash Prize is Bill Emerson. And the Best Bowl number 2 is for the Freud 7-piece foursome bit set is Donald Lowe. And by now, some of you might have guessed, the first place winner of the Rikon lathe is Ron Marcoux. Okay. All right. So, the best turning between centers now. The winners are, in third place, Bill Emerson. Again. Woo. Second place is Philip Carl. And the first place big prize winner is Claude Dupuis. Surprise, surprise. All right, for the best relief carving. So for the relief carving, third place winner is Marcus Farrell. Relief carving, second place winner is Laurie Farrell. Wow. And the first place winner for relief carving is Mark Leonard. Next is also a carving category, best carving in the round. So, the third place for carving in the round is Joseph Marshall. Second place for carving in the round is Paul Bartlett. And the first place winner for carving in the round, I don't think any relation, is James McLaughlin. Woohoo! All right. The best decorative technical detail. So, in the best decorative technical detail category, the third place winner is James Gibbons. And the second place is Gary Cox. And the first place winner is M.A. Wong. All right, here we go. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here for Best Student Awards. The third place in the Best Student Award goes to James Barnett. The second place in the Student Award goes to Zayden Pickup. And the first place in the Best Student Award goes to Siler DiMaggio. And the second honorable mention goes to Nicholas Engert. And the first honorable mention goes to Logan McAllister. Sorry. All right, one more category before we get to the Judges Awards, just before the best of show. So, the People's Choice Award. This was voted on during the evening by people submitting their favorites. So, the third place in the People's Choice Award is Darren Almeida. Second place in the People's Choice Award is Fred Shea. And first place in the People's Choice Awards is Drew Flanders, high school student. All right, now I would like to invite the judges back up to present the sheets are here in front of you, to present the Judges Awards and the Best in Show.
So we each had I'll explain the Judges Award real quick. Basically, we each had an opportunity to present an award to a piece that we just thought needed to be recognized for its excellence in some category, but didn't quite necessarily fit into one of the other categories. And the piece that I chose for my Judges Award was the Shaker Chimney Cupboard by Steve Costain. It's a fantastic piece. I think that one of the things that you come to realize as you as you progress as a maker is that doing things well that are simple with clean lines and excellent proportions is actually considerably more difficult than things that are highly ornate. And this piece just nails the proportions and it nails all the details. I still thrill at a drawer that just fits perfectly and has excellent joinery, and so it's a great piece.
Well, my judge's choice goes to John Siegel. At John Siegel's piece, John Siegel's piece was that wonderful armchair, the Pilgrim Century piece. Incredible, crisp turnings. The details only made by someone who has a total mastery of the tool, understands the form. The piece is just fantastic. Thank you.
I've got the pleasure to award my Judges Award to Denise Palco. Now, that was a small table. Small table that was actually, like Owen said, it's got very refined lines, tapered legs, very, very small sort of cavity of the basic table with a slide out for a tea cup. And what we liked about it, what I liked about it was just really very nicely made with the details, which are so important to me, the moldings, and the quality overall of the piece was very, very nice.
Yeah, please stay up. So the Best in Show, for us, hands down, was a wonderful Chinese cabinet made by Merle Phelps. Hats off to you, Merle. This piece clearly demonstrates a very exceptionally high level of craftsmanship and a thorough understanding of this form. Chinese work is very difficult, is very demanding. The extensive use of beautifully executed frame and panel work, the mitered and blind tenon joinery is exceptional, highly sculpted scrolls and brackets, beautifully fitted and functioning drawers and doors, exceptional hardware choice, and exemplary finishing. Wonderful job, Merle. Thanks for submitting this piece.
Is the raffle box in the vicinity? Okay. It's your last chance to win something. If you but remember, you're all winners for participating. Yeah, just you don't all go home with a trophy. All right. All right. So this is for the Saw Stop raffle. How do you get your hand in here? I'm going to have to tear it. Is that okay? Okay, okay. All right. We're inviting the camera lady up for this drawing, so there's no fix. Here she is. Do we just do one ticket? I guess it doesn't matter, whoever. Okay, we got one. All right, so the winner of the Saw Stop is 241-1215. 241-1215. Anybody get that? Oh, we got a winner! Woohoo! 241-1215. That's it. Beautiful. Nice.
Congratulations. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention that occurred to me. I was doing a little research. Well, first of all, I asked the educator, I didn't get a chance to go to the planetarium show, but I asked him to see, show what the sky might have looked like 400 years ago in Concord. And then he assured me that it looks the same as it is now, except you could probably see more of it 400 years ago than you can now. So just goes to put things in perspective and define the scope of where you're living in your environment. The other thing that I kind of thought of was and I don't know how they figured it out, but they say there's 1 billion trillion stars in the universe, and that's a 1 with 21 zeros after it. When you bring it in a little more, in our galaxy alone, there's anywhere between 3 and 10 billion stars in our galaxy, in the Milky Way galaxy. However, on Earth, there's anywhere between 100 and 300 trillion or a billion trees. So we have a lot more trees on Earth than there are stars in the galaxy, which goes to show we have a lot of wood to use up. So we're not going to run out of wood anytime soon. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming. Give yourselves a big hand.